Hi friends! Welcome sa ating part 10 ng Principles Test Review. Ang topic natin ngayon ay ang Department of Education Manual of Style o tinatawag ding Dmos. Ang legal basis ng Department of Education Manual of Style ay ang DepEd Order No. 30 Series of 2019. According to Secretary Briones, Dmos was largely based on the Chicago Manual of Style, or the CMOS or CMOS, which has been the prescribed manual for most publishing institutions that use American English. It is also integrated in the DepEd House Style that includes common usage within the department or unique decisions made for specific and practical purposes. Kaya ginawa ang DepEd Manual of Style to make us oriented on the Department of Education guidelines and in integrating the standard of Dmos in language styling, writing, and formatting of DepEd issuances and other official documents in schools and offices. So to start with, DepEd Manual of Style, we will be discussing capitalization. It is said that use a capital letter to begin proper nouns, sentences, headings, some abbreviations and acronyms, and the important words in composition titles. We should also capitalize the initial letter of common nouns such as party, river, and street when they are integral part of the full name of a place or thing. So these are common examples. Use Pasig River with a capital R for river, Pioneer Street, S for street, and New York City, capitalize yung C for New York. According to DepEd Manual of Style, we should also capitalize the initial letter of proper names of nationalities, people, races, tribes, and so on. So, Filipinos, Indians, Africans, this should be capital letters. It should start with capital letters. Capitalize the initial letter of specific constitutions, but use lowercase c if the constitution is used in a generic sense. So when we say Philippine Constitution, because this describes the Constitution of the Philippines, the word Constitution starts with a capital letter C. So let's have some practice exercise. What is correct, A or B? Let's see. Letter A country's constitution should be honored. Constitution here for letter A is capitalized. For B, C is not capitalized for constitution. So which is correct? Let us see. The correct answer is letter B. A country's constitution should be honored because the Constitution in letter B is used in a generic term. It is used as a generic term. For letter A, it is capitalized, but it should describe the constitution of a certain country. Let's say, the Philippine Constitution should be honored. Okay, so that is our first quiz. So let's answer also this one. New York City is the most populous city in the United States. Letter B. New York City is the most populous city in the United States. So what's the difference? Populous city, which use small letters C for city. Populous city, which used the capital letter C for city. So the correct answer is letter A. Again, City is used as a generic term. Let's proceed now for educational degrees and grades. How can you make these sentences correct? Okay. Okay, for number 1, she has a master's degree in Philippine Studies. So, let's see. Yung master's degree should be small letter M and studies should be capital letter S. Juan de la Cruz, MD. Pero may period after M and after D. So, tinanggal yung period sa M saka sa D. Although the period here is should be omitted. She was enrolled in kindergarten. Yan. Dapat capital letter K. The pupil was accelerated from grade 4 to grade 6. Yan. So, yung grade, ginawang capital letter yung start ng salitang grade. Grade 4 to grade 6. So, this is the discussion. Use lowercase initial letter for degrees and fellowships in text. So, yung mga degrees and fellowships should start with lowercase initial letter. Doctorate, so that should be small letter D. Next, capitalize all letters and abbreviate without a period when used after a person's name. So therefore, MD or PhD, there should be no period after PH and after D. For grade levels, capitalize the initial letter. So if you will be doing a report, we have no dropout for grade 7. So therefore, yung grade 7 dapat capital letter. Ang start, capital letter G. For ethnic groups, capitalize the letter of ethnic and national groups. Mangyan, Ilocano. Okay? So it should start with capital letter. Government, use initial capital letter for government. For formal and full names of the government. Government of the Philippines, so it used capital letter G for government. When used in a generic sense, use the lowercase letter for government. The government should provide basic social services. So we are not talking here about a specific country. So therefore, the word government should not be capitalized, or the first letter of the word government should not be in capital letter. Ministries, departments, and other government bodies. The Department of Education has drafted its own annual plan. The department will finalize its plan by March. Okay, let us see. So, Department of Education, both capital letter, and then sabi, the department will finalize its plan by March. Okay, take note that the department for the second sentence starts with small letter D. So, that's wrong. So, it should be capital letter D because it pertains to the Department of Education. So, analyzing the sentence, the second sentence, the department will finalize its plan by March, pertains to the Department of Education. So, therefore, department for the second sentence should start with capital letter D. Next, each department is responsible for drafting the annual plan. Is it correct? Yes, it is correct. Because there is no specific department which is mentioned. It is only talking about a specific department or a specific little or part of the organization. So therefore, it is not, there is no department in the government which is mentioned. Therefore, As we have mentioned, you can use the term in a generic sense, therefore department starts with small letter D. So yan, capitalize initial letters of full names of national ministries and departments and other bodies, but lowercase generic references. So therefore, when you say it's generic, use small letter D for department. So, but if you will be writing Department of Agriculture, therefore, department is capital letter, starts with capital D, and agriculture starts with big letter or capital letter A. When referring to the Department of Education, as a department, capitalize D. So, just like in the first example, the second sentence, use department with a capital letter D. So for organizations, companies, and institutions, let us see which is correct. National Organization of Professional Teachers, comma, Incorporated. Letter B, National Organization of Professional Teachers, Incorporated. Letter C, National Organization of Professional Teachers, Incorporated, without a dot. Letter D, National Organization of Professional Teachers, Incorporated, without a comma and without a dot. So which is correct? The correct answer is letter B, National Organization of Professional Teachers, Incorporated. There is no comma, but Incorporated has a dot after letter C. So what's the rule? Capitalize initial letters of full names of organizations, companies, and institutions. No comma before incorporated or limited. So that's the rule. Plans, policies, programs, sub-projects, strategies, and laws. Capitalize initial letters of actual names of plans, policies, treaties, acts, programs, sub-projects, and similar documents or agreements. But lowercase initial letters when used in a generic sense or when their short form is used, except for department issuances. So examples, K-12 Basic Education Program. Take note, Basic Education Program all starts with capital letter. The Gawad Siklab search for outstanding student government is ongoing. The search is open to all student bodies nationwide. Okay? Next, the DepEd order was issued yesterday. The order was about the regulations on issuances. Take note, the order for the second sentence is using a capital letter O for order because this pertains to a DepEd order which was mentioned in the first sentence. For titles, once a title has been given, it need not be repeated each time a person's name is mentioned. So, an example, Cecilia Reyes, Senator of the Philippines. When you will mention Cecilia Reyes as a Senator of the Philippines, you can mention in the second sentence or the preceding sentence, Senator Reyes. Or, if it will be mentioned again, you can just say Reyes. And not keep on repeating the word Senator Reyes or Senator of the Philippines. Okay? Lowercase titles, when used alone, when set up descriptively from a name by commas, open after a name. When applicable, capitalize only the names of departments, divisions, and other groups. Maria Santos, Education Department Secretary, or Maria Santos, Secretary of the Department of Education. So for the first one, it used capital letter S. For the second one, it only uses small letter s for secretary. So that is how you write it. For peso, currency, for consistency with news publications, use P instead of PHP when referring to amounts and figures of money. Do not place a space between the currency and the number. So when you say 500 pesos, capital P, and then 500, or 10,000 pesos, 10,000, used a comma, but there is no space between the number and the capital letter P, which is the sign for peso. For dollar, for instances where dollars refer to other non-US currencies in a single word, they should be specifically expressed. Canadian dollar can be expressed as CAD, okay? Singapore dollar, SGD, US dollar, USD. And the same with peso, there is no space between the number and the abbreviation. Okay. Systems of chronology. Full capital letters without periods in keeping with the general guidelines. Let's say AD, Anno Domini, AD 2013. BC, before Christ, 300 BC. So you might be asking, is there no space? No. When you use AD 2013 or 300 BC, there is a space as compared to the use of Philippine peso or dollars. Time of day, use numerals with zeros for even hours for exact times. And the Chicago Manual of Style, which is CMOS, recommends lowercase for AM and PM. So we will write 11 o'clock or 11 a.m. So A.M. anti-meridian before noon, or 12 p.m. Okay? So sometimes you are used to write this in capital letter, diba? But we should use small letters. Or you can also use 12 NN dot, which is rarely used, but you can use also 12 NN period 1 p.m. post meridian after noon. So take note of these things. The abbreviations AM and PM should not be used with morning, afternoon, evening, night, or o'clock. So when you use AM and PM, do not use morning, afternoon, because that will be redundant. Okay? That will be redundant. So when you say 10:30 a.m., so just simply use 10:30 a.m. or 11 p.m. Or rather, use 10:30 in the morning or 11 o'clock at night. So you have two options. You can spell it out or use the numerals and use AM or PM with a dot and use capital letter. So let's have again a quiz for date format, which is correct. January, Jan, period 15, 2020, January, comma, 2020, January dot, yun ay may dot, Jan dot 2020, January 2020, which is correct. Okay, so the correct is A and D. You can use JAN dot 15, comma, 2020 or January 2020. Except for correspondence and DepEd issuances, abbreviate January, February, March, April, July, so on when used with a specific date. But if you will be using correspondence, you can spell it January, complete January, January, January 15, 2020. Spell out the names of months using a month alone or with a year alone. If space is limited, you can use the shortened form. So spell out months or with year alone. How about for decades, which is correct? 1900s, 1980s, 1900s with an apostrophe, or 1980s with an apostrophe S, or apostrophe 80s, apostrophe 90s. So which is correct? 1900s, letter B, 1980s, letter E, and letter F. So what's the rule? Do not use an apostrophe before S to signify decades. So, gone were the days na yan ang ginagamit, yung letter C and D. We will be using A, B, E, and F format for decades. How about for annexes and enclosures? How will you emphasize an item in any document? Will you italicize? Will you underline? Will you put in quotation mark? Or will you use boldface? The answer is use boldface. To emphasize any item in a document, use boldface. Do not italicize, underline, or put in quotation marks. Enclosure. This is for annexes and enclosures. Enclosure is a part of a document. Annex or attachment is an extra material that is part of the enclosure. So if you will be asked what is an enclosure, it is part of a document. What is an annex? It is an attachment or an extra material that is part of the enclosure. So just like if you will be doing a report, you can use annexes or extra material for such a report. Yan. So, yun yung example ng enclosure at saka ng annex. Page numbering of enclosures. So, if you will be using enclosures, the page number, take note, page number should start from 1. And then annexes should start from A. Okay, so you'll be saying, please see enclosure 1 in page 1. Please see Annex A in page A. Footnotes and headings. Use superscript Arabic numerals to indicate footnotes with no slash or underscore. Place superscript footnote numbers at the end of the sentence, if possible after the punctuation mark. Example, the school enrollment rate has gone down in recent years. There is a superscript 1 after the period. So that is how you will do footnoting. Headings. Do not use abbreviations in headings except for abbreviations that are common than their spelled out version. For titles in the issuances, do not use the abbreviations or acronym. So, example, yan. So, guidelines, ito example, guidelines on the enhanced school improvement planning. Diba? In-spell out yung school improvement planning or SIP. And then, school report card, SRC. So, it is spelled out. Use title case for heading. So, pag may heading, use title case except for non-essential words, which are the articles and preposition. So, let's look dun sa example sa cellphone. This is an example of a sentence case. So, when you write the sentence, start with a capital letter and the rest, small letter lahat nag-start. Pag naman title case, this is an example of title case. So, yung mga article, saka yung proposition starts with small letter, but the essential words has capital letter in their starting word. Okay, example of capital letter title, capital letter T, case, capital letter C. Pero dito sa heading, take note that common, except for abbreviations that are common, then they're spelled out version. One example is CD-ROM. Yan. Usually they are used as their abbreviation. So you will use CD-ROM, the impact of CD-ROM in teaching. Yan. That's compact disk read-only memory. You will not spell it out. Okay? So format. The optimum number of heading levels is 3. Maximum 4. Indent appropriately. Okay? So therefore, if you will be using the formatting, you can use the following format. Start with 1 and then followed by A, B, and C, small letter, and then the Roman numerals, small I. Yan, and then Arabic number 1, 2, and 3 enclosed in open and close parentheses. And the rest, on the right side, you may use Roman numeral 1 and then capital letter A, followed by an Arabic number 1 and small letter A, Roman numeral I, and then Arabic number enclosed in parentheses, small letter A and I. So you can use this as an example if you will be formatting. Okay, figures and colors. Figures need to be able to stand alone, separate from the text. Thus, they should contain their own abbreviations, list, and other explanatory material placed at the bottom. So, ito yung example natin. Figure 9, teachers' ownership of computer and access to connectivity at home. So, gumamit siya ng figure 9, period. So, this is how you do it. And then, separate yung figure. Tapos, sa ilalim, merong mga explanation. Avoid using color on figures. You may use shades of black for bar charts and graph. So, figure 7, teacher responded by key stage. Ayan. So, let us check on this kasi malimit pag gumagawa tayo ng mga report, yung mga pie graph, yung nasa left, tapos bar graph, yung nasa right. We are using colors, red, yellow, orange, green, etc. But, sabi dito, shades of black for bar charts and graphs. Okay? So, hindi na pwede yung mga colored because according to the DepEd Manual of Style, use shades of black for bar charts and graphs. Page number. Complete the rules in formatting page number. Use lowercase blank numerals without parentheses for preliminary pages and use blank numerals for all other pages. So, for preliminary pages, use Roman numerals. Yan. And then, Arabic numerals for all other pages. I think this is the same with if you will be doing your dissertation or your thesis, yung mga preliminary pages, use Roman numerals. For numbering, when numbering in a table, use a period after every number. Napakita ko na yung kanina dun sa merong figure. Roman numerals could also be used, but avoid using the closing parentheses. Yan. So, numbering on a table, 1 period, 2 period, 3 period. This is using Arabic number. And then, Roman numerals can also be used. And don't use closing parentheses. Yan. Yung nasa right, 1 parenthesis. So, don't use that one. So, because DepEd is also advocates gender awareness, so how about our use of words? So, avoid na natin yung chairman, fisherman, mailman, stewardess, steward, man-made, because of the word man. Okay, this is very gender specific. Instead, for chairman, use chairperson. Fisherman, use fisherfolk. Mailman, letter carrier. Stewardess, steward, ano kaya? Flight attendant. Man-made, use manufactured. So use gender-neutral language. Avoid using the masculine gender when the gender is not known. Okay, for politically correct terms, okay, avoid the word stupid. Instead, use intellectually impaired, dishonest, ethically disoriented, drunk, chemically inconvenienced, poor, economically marginalized, terrorist, freedom fighter. Okay, so you use those words in red ink. Mga example dito. Eliminate language that could potentially affect sensibilities in terms of religion, race, and the like. For non-English terms, write non-English terms in italics and provide their English translation in parentheses after the word or in a footnote at first appearance. Italicize the non-English term throughout the document. Example, ceteris paribus, all things being equal. Diba? Enclose in parentheses and then the meaning, all things being equal. Loco parentis, in the place of a parent. Nemo dat quod non habet, no one can give what he has not got. So this is how you write non-English terms. Do not italicize local proper nouns, names of agencies, institutions, or organization. So, alam nyo na naman yan. So, for name of agencies, you use the capital letter for their first words. Department of Agriculture, capital letter D, capital letter A. For department and agriculture, respectively. Numerals or words. Spell out numbers from 1 to 9. Spell out a number used as the first word of a sentence. It is better to reward when a spelled out number will consist of many words. So ito 11. Sabi naman, spell out numbers from 1 to 9. Sabi sa rule, spell out a number used as the first word of a sentence. So therefore, kaya ginamit yung 11 na spelled out kasi 11 is the first word in the sentence. So 11 pupils from Taguig Elementary School made it to the final round. Okay? But if you will write this, let's say, Taguig Elementary School has 4. Okay, kasi 1 to 9. So you use Arabic number. Taguig Elementary School has 4 pupils entering the final round. So, gagamitin mo pag sabihin mo yung 4, Arabic number. Spelled out. Okay? Spelled out. Taguig Elementary School has 4. So, F-O-U-R. 4 students entering the final round. Okay? And the rest naman ay gagamitin mo na yung kanyang numeric number. So, take note, 1 to 9 are spelled out. About 50,000 high school students took the assessment test. Hindi mo na i-spell out kasi ano na siya, malaking figure. So, write the number. And when you write it, you use comma. Numbers with 4 or more digits should be in numerical form and separated by comma. Ayan, example, 50,000 to 1 million. First to 9th are spelled out. 10th onward should be written as 10th and so on. So therefore, 21st century. 10th DepEd anniversary. Yan. Pero pag 1st to 9th, okay, spell it out. The same with, let's go back with numerals. Spell out din yung numbers from 1 to 9. So, i-relate nyo siya. Yung numerals from 1 to 9 are spelled out. The same din sa position. So, 1st to 9th are spelled out. So, madaling tandaan. Basta 1 to 9 or in the position, 1st to 9th, it is spelled out. So, we won 2nd place in the essay writing competition for the division level. Next, fractions are spelled out and hyphenated. Okay? So, if you will be using fractions, don't use the numeric form 1/2. No, you use 1/3 of the student population, 1/2 of the learners, which should be spelled out and hyphenated. Ito naman, use figures for the following: ages, grade year levels, series of numbers in the same category, statistical data, money, hours, time, and years. So you use figures. And use Roman numerals when indicating DepEd regions. Regions 1 to 12. Regional offices 1 to 12. So therefore, region for A, Calabarzon. Avoid following the word for a number with a figure in parentheses for the same number unless for legal purposes. Ayan. So, avoid using numbers in parentheses. So, you simply 8, you write 8. Okay. But for legal purposes, dapat merong enclose in parentheses. Okay. To make it more specific and to make the report clear and very substantial. So, for other things that if you would like to know, if you would like to learn more about the DepEd Manual of Style, you can refer to DepEd Order number 30, series of 2019. This was issued October 18, 2019. Okay? So, this department order is more than 2 years now. And the title is the Department of Education Manual of Style. So, I would like to personally thank Ma'am Ylu Bonifacio of Gumaca East District for sharing to me this PowerPoint presentation, which is very clear. And thank you again, ma'am, for sharing this. And hoping that our principal's test aspirants will learn from this. But you can also share this to our colleagues in DepEd, everyone from DepEd, including our office mates, including our administrative assistants, administrative officers, and all of those in the Department of Education can also watch from this vlog, because this is our manual of style. This is how we write it in DepEd. This is how we do our report, and this is a very good basis if we will be making any document or correspondence. So again, thank you so much for watching this vlog. Thank you for watching Aris Barrago Vlogs. Watch, like, comment, share, and subscribe.